Arsenal fans, what a massive week this is shaping up to be. Confidence is high around Arsenal FC after an important 2-0 victory over Everton in the Premier League at the Emirates. But now the focus quickly shifts to Europe and a huge UEFA Champions League night against Bayer 04 Leverkusen. Arsenal are back in training at London Colney, and the week that stretches out ahead of this football club is without question the most important, the most demanding and the most potentially historic 7 days in Mikel Arteta's entire reign as Arsenal manager. 3 matches, 7 days, everything on the line. The Champions League quarter-finals, the Carabao Cup, the Premier League title. All of it converging into a sequence of fixtures that will define this season and potentially define this club's place in football history for generations to come. As players who walked off the Emirates pitch on Saturday evening after Victor Gyökeres and teenage sensation Max Daumann sealed a crucial 2-0 victory over Everton. In the closing stages are back on the training ground today, preparing with the intensity and the focus that only a squad that genuinely believes it can win everything has the capacity to sustain at this stage of a campaign as demanding and as extraordinary as this one has been. The Everton win was not just 3 points. It was a statement. It was Arsenal going 10 points clear at the top of the Premier League before Manchester City even kicked a ball against West Ham. 10 points with 8 games remaining. At a club that has been waiting over 2 decades to lift the Premier League trophy again, that gap feels like the clearest and most powerful signal yet that this is truly Arsenal's year. But Saturday's celebrations have already been filed away, because Tuesday night brings Bayer Leverkusen to the Emirates Stadium for the Champions League round of 16 second leg. And with the tie perfectly poised at 1-1 after last week's dramatic draw in Germany, everything is still to play for in European competition. Win on Tuesday and Arsenal are in the Champions League quarter-finals, one step closer to the final that this club has been chasing since that painful Paris night in 2006. The Emirates under the European lights, a capacity crowd, a place in the last 8 at stake. It does not get bigger than this for any football club in the world. And then on Sunday, the Carabao Cup final at Wembley Stadium against Manchester City. A domestic cup final against the club's title rivals. A chance to win the first piece of silverware of what could be a genuinely historic quadruple season. 3 matches, 7 days. The most important week in Mikel Arteta's Arsenal career. Now the injury news. Because the picture emerging from London Colney on Monday is one that requires careful navigation and honest assessment, heading into the most crucial stretch of the entire campaign. The worst news of the week is the confirmation of 2 significant absences that Arteta delivered at his Monday press conference, with characteristic directness and clarity. Both Jurrien Timber and Martin Odegaard are out for Tuesday's Leverkusen's second leg. Yes, both of them are out, Arteta confirmed simply, leaving no room for hope or ambiguity on either player's availability for the Champions League tie. Timber's absence is the more recent and the more surprising of the two, the Dutch defender having sustained an ankle knock during Saturday's Everton win. He was forced to come off before half-time after initially trying to continue following treatment from Arsenal's medical staff. And while the incident looked fairly innocuous in the moment, and there was initial hope he might be able to play through it, the Monday training session confirmed that the ankle requires more time than the 48 hours available before Tuesday's kickoff. Arteta provided a cautiously optimistic update when pressed on Timber's availability for Sunday's Carabao Cup final, saying he believes it will be a matter of days but that he is not sure, which suggests the Dutchman could potentially be back in contention for Wembley if his recovery progresses well across the rest of the week. The timing of Timber's injury is particularly damaging given the context of Ben White's ongoing fitness problems, which have meant the Dutch defender has been carrying an enormous workload in recent months covering the right-back position while White has been unavailable. White did return to the bench for the Leverkusen first leg in Germany and was part of the matchday squad against Everton, suggesting he is edging closer to full availability. But the combination of White's limited match fitness and Timber's current ankle issue leaves Arsenal's right-back options in a genuinely challenging position for Tuesday. Martin Odegaard's situation is the most persistently frustrating subplot of Arsenal's entire season, the captain having now missed 5 consecutive matches since his substitute appearance in the North London derby against Tottenham. The The knee injury that Odegaard first sustained during the Brentford draw in February has simply refused to fully resolve despite everyone's best efforts, and Tuesday's Leverkusen second leg will pass without the Norwegian who has been so central and so important to everything Arsenal have built under Arteta. However, the message from Odegaard himself, speaking in the matchday programme for Saturday's Everton game, was one of genuine determination and genuine optimism. He said he is desperate to get back to playing as soon as he can, that being back home is something the whole squad is looking forward to, and that everyone is playing their part to keep the momentum alive. Arteta reinforced that message at his press conference, confirming that Odegaard is really pushing to get himself back in contention and that the Carabao Cup final against City on Sunday represents the target the captain is working towards. If Odegaard can be fit for Wembley, it would be one of the most perfect and most emotionally resonant moments of this entire season. The captain returning on the biggest domestic stage against the club's title rivals to play in a cup final that carries enormous significance both as a trophy in its own right and as a psychological weapon in the Premier League title race. The positive news from Monday's training session centres on the return of Leandro Trossard, who was back working with the first-team squad at London Colney after 9 days away from the group following the injury he sustained at Mansfield Town in the FA Cup fifth-round win. The Belgian had trained before the Leverkusen first leg in Germany, but was not fit enough to be included in the matchday squad on that occasion and then missed Saturday's Everton victory as well. His presence in Monday's session is an encouraging sign that his recovery has progressed sufficiently, and Arteta confirmed at his press conference that Trossard is ready to return to the matchday squad for Tuesday's second leg. The Belgian's availability significantly strengthens Arsenal's attacking options and gives Arteta more tactical flexibility in how he approaches a Champions League knockout tie that will require different solutions at different moments across the 90 minutes. Trossard's ability to operate as a winger, as a number 10, and as a centre-forward makes him one of the most tactically versatile players in the squad, and having him available from the bench at the very minimum gives Arteta a high-quality option to change the dynamic of the game if the second leg becomes tense and tight in the second half. The other genuinely exciting subplot emerging from Monday's training session is the presence of 16-year-old Max Daumann, who became the youngest goalscorer in Premier League history on Saturday when he came off the bench in stoppage time against Everton and delivered the moment that sealed the 2-0 victory that sent the Emirates into raptures. Daumann's late goal was not just historically significant in terms of its record-breaking nature, it was a glimpse of a talent so precocious, so naturally gifted, and so completely unafraid of the biggest moments that everyone watching understood they were seeing someone genuinely special for the very first time. The 16-year-old trained with the first-team squad on Monday and has already been registered on Arsenal's UEFA B-list squad, which means Arteta is free to select him in the Champions League if he chooses to do so. The question is not whether Daumann is talented enough to play in a Champions League knockout tie. Saturday answered that question beyond any reasonable doubt. The question is whether exposing a 16-year-old to the specific demands and pressures of a European second leg with a place in the quarter-finals at stake is the right call. And that is a decision that only Arteta can make based on everything he knows about the teenager's physical and mental readiness for such an occasion. The broader squad availability picture for Tuesday gives Arteta enough quality to field a side capable of winning this second leg and progressing to the quarter-finals even without Timber and Odegaard. David Raya is in outstanding form between the posts. Saliba and Gabriel provide the defensive foundation. Declan Rice and Martin Zubimendi give the midfield its balance and its energy. Bukayo Saka on the right brings the most consistent and most dangerous wide attacking threat in the competition. Ebereki Eze demonstrated against Leverkusen in Germany that he is entirely capable of performing at this level in the number 10 role. Gabriel Martinelli, with 6 Champions League goals from only 4 starts this season, is one of the most lethal attacking players in European football at this moment. And Victor Gyökeres, arriving at Tuesday's game off the back of his Everton goal and with the confidence and the momentum of a player who has been delivering decisive contributions in the most important matches all season, is the striker that Leverkusen will fear most and will organise their entire defensive approach around trying to neutralise. The tie itself remains perfectly balanced after the 1-1 draw in Germany last week. Robert Andrich's corner goal gave Leverkusen the lead in the second half before Havertz stepped up and converted the late penalty to draw Arsenal level and give them the crucial away goal. Leverkusen at the Emirates will be a different proposition from Leverkusen at the Bay Arena, and the hostile and passionate European atmosphere that the Emirates generates on its biggest nights will add an extra dimension of energy and belief to an Arsenal performance that needs to be significantly better than what was produced in Germany. Arteta acknowledged as much with his pre-match comments this week, making clear that the performance level needs to improve considerably and that the players are fully aware of the standard required. The schedule that follows Tuesday's second leg makes this the most concentrated and most demanding period of the entire Arsenal season. Win on Tuesday and the Champions League quarter-finals await in April. Then Sunday brings the Carabao Cup final against Manchester City at Wembley, a fixture that carries the additional psychological significance of being a direct meeting with the club's main Premier League title rival at a moment when Arsenal hold a 10-point advantage at the top of the table. Winning the Carabao Cup would add the first trophy to this season's potential collection and would send the most powerful possible message to City and to the rest of the Premier League about Arsenal's mentality and their readiness to handle the pressure of a major final while simultaneously chasing 3 other trophies. Arteta gathered his squad together at London Colney this week, and the message from the manager was the same message he has delivered throughout this extraordinary campaign. Focus on what is in front of you. Trust the process. Trust each other. Trust the standards that have been built together. The position we are in, Arteta said, depends entirely on us. Arsenal go into the biggest week of the season 10 points clear in the Premier League, 1 win from the Champions League quarter-finals and 1 final from Carabao Cup glory. The injuries to Timber and Odegaard are significant and real and cannot be minimised. But this is a squad of sufficient depth, sufficient quality and sufficient collective belief to absorb those absences and still deliver the performances that this moment demands. The training is done. The preparation is complete. The Emirates is ready for Tuesday night and Wembley is on the horizon for Sunday, and Arsenal Football Club, having worked for 3 years to reach this precise moment, is not about to let anything stand in the way of making history. Leverkusen on Tuesday, City at Wembley on Sunday. The quadruple dream is alive. The most important week in Arteta's reign has arrived and Arsenal are ready. Stay tuned for more updates.